What's going on? What's going on? Late night family. We back in the building.
Yes, sir.
Coming to bring you another exciting episode of Late Night Conversations with Unc and Nephew. I am your host, King J, also known as Nephew. And to the left is my co-host,
JR, Big Unc.
What's up, Big Unc?
You already know, nephew.
What's going on with you, dog?
Rocking and rolling now.
I ain't seen you all weekend.
I know,
and most of the beginning of this week.
I didn't chance going anywhere and folding my knee.
Fold on it. Dog, if you
I'll be a TikTok video, dog.
If you would have fell on your knee, dog, I'd have had to laugh, dog.
I would laugh, dog, and then cry.
I just see you like out there with your cane. You ever see like that?
I'm done with the cane as of today, though.
Man, dog, I know I seen you drive up, man.
Yeah,
Shoot, I said, okay.
Man.
You back in business, man. Look, I'm glad to see you doing better, man.
Cool.
I know we haven't talked this past weekend. I've been busy at work.
Right.
But leading to the podcast today, man, I've been doing a lot of research and different things, and I landed on a dope story.
Okay.
A dope story. So it's a true crime case, kind of. It kind of is.
Okay, that's crazy.
So let me explain myself. So this case that we're going to be visiting today is the strangest unsolved death ever recorded. It was an incident that some claim is proof of spontaneous human combustion. Others say it was just a tragic accident, but the facts, they're hard to explain.
All right.
Before we jump into this case, though, let me just say this. Thank y'all for following, commenting, sharing our stuff, man. We really do appreciate it.
Right.
If y'all watching on YouTube, wherever podcast platform you are watching, whether that be Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast from, please give us a like, give us a follow. We're starting to do more and more episodes of different things.
Yeah, just changing it up instead of true crime, yeah.
So we do have true crime. This is, like I said, is a true crime because they don't know if it was a murder or it was what it was.
Right.
So we'll dive into that here in a minute. But, man, y'all give us a follow, man. If y'all love the content, we really do appreciate it. It literally has been consuming our lives. This is what we like to do now. So if y'all like it, man, y'all give us a follow, man. If not, it is what it is. But, man, if you're watching on YouTube, man, hit that subscribe button, man, and hit that bell in the face so you get notified every time we drop a podcast, and that is every Friday at 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
So today's story is called The Case of Mary Reeser, also known as the Cinder Woman of St. Petersburg, Florida.
Oh, this is in the United States?
Yep.
Oh.
All right, check it out. So, Mary Reeser was visited by her son on the evening of July 1st, 1951. She told him that she was preparing for bed and that she had took 2 Seconal tablets, which were used back then for surgery patients right before surgery to help calm them down. So, her son said his goodbyes, and unknowingly to him, that was the last goodbye he was going to give.
Oh, man.
She would settle in her chair for her last nighttime cigarette. Fast forward to the next morning. July 2nd, 1951, in the quiet neighborhood, a telegram boy had arrived to her apartment complex with a telegram for Mary. And when her landlady, Pansy Carpenter, tried the doorknob to let him in, it was hot to the touch.
Oh.
She grabbed the doorknob and it burned her hand. It was so hot. So the hallway had a strong smell of something burning. She was real suspicious of that, of course, so she called the police. When officers and firemen arrived and they forced the door open, they were met with a nasty scene. In the corner of her apartment sat the remains of Mary Reeser, or rather what didn't remain. All that was left of Mary was a small pile of ashes, parts of her backbone, and her left foot that still had a black satin slipper on. Her head was also left over, the skull. It had shrunken to the size of a teacup.
What?
According to the reports of the firemen and police. Strangely, the rest of the room showed only minimal signs of fire damage. The walls were covered in soot, and a nearby plastic light switch had melted, but nothing else had been burned. And they also reported that there was a couple plug-in outlets near where she was burned at. The face plates were melted, but nothing was wrong.
It was like it was just heat.
Yeah, it was just something burned them outside, but nothing was wrong with the electric. And also, the crazy thing is, nearby was a stack of newspapers that were untouched, and there were a couple candles on the shelf nearby. They were completely melted, but the wicks were standing straight up.
Oh, dang. So they melted from the outside in.
Crazy, yeah. Something melted. So that tells me there was an immense heat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everything around her wasn't too far damaged. Now, the chair was gone. It was reduced to ashes like her body. But like I said, everything else seemed mostly untouched. So that was a crazy sight to the police officers, and firemen. It was kind of hard to explain, but before I go any further, let me just kind of introduce you to who Mary Reeser was. So Mary Reeser was born in 1884 in Columbia, Pennsylvania. She was a widow who was living alone in Florida to be near her son, which is Dr. Richard Reeser. He was a junior. So she was described as a quiet, friendly, and she was also a habitual smoker. In fact, she was known to take sleeping pills and smoke her cigarettes before bed, just witnesses, next door neighbors. That was pretty much her nightly routine, something many believe played a role in her death. So the question is, could a cigarette really cause a human body to burn nearly completely in a room that never caught fire?
That's what I'm saying. It's like the heat, the fire was contained to one solid area. And it was just so hot that you had nothing left, pretty much, man.
Yeah, and check this out, not only that, experts during the investigation weighed in and said that in order for her body to cremate the way it did, her body would have to have been burning at 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 to 4 hours.
Man, that's crazy.
3 to 4 hours of a consistent 3,000 degree burn. How did the whole apartment complex not catch on fire, dog?
Like I said, it was from the outside in. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know.
Okay, so check this out. The investigation. The police called in the FBI and they called in fire experts. Samples were taken from the scene and they were sent off for analysis. And investigators considered several possibilities. Now, when they all came back from the samples being analyzed, there was no flammable material found on none of the material.
Okay.
And the only thing they found was in the rug where she was burning, there was human fat found inside the rug.
Oh, wow. Oh, it just dripped.
So that was the only thing they found.
That's crazy.
And, investigators considered several possibilities. Could a dropped cigarette combined with the sleeping pills, have caused her to pass out and maybe ignite her chair? And that was that's pretty much what they ended up coming to the
that cigarette started the fire.
She took those pills, maybe she was
asleep.
Yeah, she fell asleep, dropped her cigarette and ignited,
But it's insane, just that one area.
Yeah,
it was contained.
And here was another possibility. Could it have been a freak chemical reaction, perhaps, involving her fat content of the human body? So the theory that emerged was known as the wick effect. This is kind of what they came to the conclusion of. This theory suggests that, like a candle, the human body can burn using its own fat as fuel.
Okay.
With clothing as a wick.
Right.
So, in other words, once ignited, Mary may have literally burned from the inside out slowly and intensely without needing a roaring fire. Still, the exact cause was never proven. Now, another theory is spontaneous human combustion. The case quickly caught national attention.
Of course.
It was featured in newspapers and later in the paranormal documentaries, books. There's been a lot of research on it. Because of the bizarre condition of Mary's body, many believe she had been victim to spontaneous human combustion, a phenomenon where a person supposedly bursts into flames with no external source of ignition. Skeptics say there's no scientific evidence for this yet. Mary Reeser's case became one of the most cited examples in support of this phenomenon.
So she was like the very first one.
She was one of them. That was one. There was a couple after her, but she's one of the first. I don't know technically if she's the first, but she's one of the first well-known and most documented. Yeah. So, what's crazy, Unc, is these are the things that they're taking into account that can that are leading to spontaneous combustion. Yeah. A human body reduced to ashes in just a few hours. A foot was left untouched. It was like from halfway down her shin down, and the slipper was satin, and it was still intact. The foot, the skin was intact, everything was intact. How could something be so hot that it melted plastic, but it didn't melt that leg and the satin cover? A foot was left untouched. Furniture barely scorched. Other than the chair, nothing around it was scorched. And there was no clear source of a fire. So if not spontaneous combustion, then what? What could have caused it? So
it was so hot, just like a flame from like a gas stove. How hot it is in the middle, and it just
burned everything around it.
Around, yeah.
And that's why they're saying spontaneous combustion. Yeah. And of course, we don't fully understand what that is, but for something to ignite inside, that's a good example. Like a gas stove, something lights from the source, and it just burns everything around it. Yeah. Man, over 70 years later, the question lingers: how could such a complete incineration occur without igniting the room? Here's another question, dog, that a lot of people are theorizing. Why did her skull shrink? When skulls in fire typically explode. Now, I did some research on this, because I wanted to know that question. Why did her skull shrink? And so I'm like, okay.
And you said to a teacup, so.
To a teacup. Tiny, little skull. Right. That blew my mind because I thought, we've done cases on like the solder children. Right. Where, it says that some bone fragments should remain, but it didn't say anything when I was doing research on cremation about shrinking bones. Right. So I looked it up, man. Turns out when a body's going through cremation, technically the skull doesn't explode. That's kind of like a myth. They're saying that like your brain starts to melt and it fries, and the pressure of it will burst the skull open. Right. That's partly true and partly not true.
It's not exploded. So it might crack.
It cracks, yeah. So the brain will swell and then it cracks the skull open. And those fragments, that's how it gets, they don't shrink.
So
they just turn into fragments.
Right, so they didn't have the whole.
They had the whole skull shrunken.
Okay. Dog. So that's crazy then.
How? You know what I mean? That don't make sense because in a fire...
I thought you meant they had fragment. No, they got a whole skull.
No, they had the skull.
That size.
And it shrunk to the size of a teacup. Typically they don't do that. They just break into shards. You know what I mean? Most bones, because remember, like I said, we did research on this. Right. When you're doing cremation, bones are left behind, and they're grinded up into a powder
and added to
the ashes. So, how did her skull shrink, and why? It must have been something.
I was thinking with the boiling effect of your brain and everything, pressurizing it. I don't know.
Shrunk it down.
Yeah, when you get depressurized or whatever, and it just. But I don't know.
It's crazy, right? And why wasn't there more smoke damage or odor reported? Right. Because she didn't smell it until she got close to the room. Right. So it wasn't like if a body is burning in a building, you would assume that the whole complex would be like.
We would think.
Right? So this tells me this wasn't a typical fire, a typical burned body. Even today, the case is under fire investigation training as an example of unexplained fire behavior. And for believers in the strange and unexplainable, it's a chilling reminder of how little we truly understand about the limits of the human body and the power of fire. We still don't fully understand what it could do to the human body. I guess after all these years of research, you would think we do. But there's still spontaneous combustion.
They can't come up with a solution.
They can't explain it.
Explain it, yeah.
And it's just like, bro, what the hell, dog? Like, could you imagine? Like, we said it earlier. Imagine you sitting there watching the game. You watching the Lakers just be sorry as hell on their last game.
Let's go Golden State right now, since
they're winning,
that's gonna win it, dog.
But they're not beating OKC, dog.
Hey, come on.
They're not beating OKC.
Come on.
They're not, cuz.
Come on.
OKC gonna ball on them,
as long as Curry doesn't re-injure his calf again, or his
yeah. I don't know. We'll see, dog. I don't think so,
It's gonna be good, dog. It's gonna be good.
But you know, say we're in there watching the game, you know, and we're watching the Warriors lose. You know what I mean, to OKC. And you know, I'm like, man, you see that play, and I look over and he just boom, he just burst into flames.
I'm on fire!
But and dog, I would be like, what the?
Yeah. How would you react?
I wouldn't even know what to do. Just sit there, just burning
out of nowhere, you know. I mean, somebody pours gas on it, whatever, that's different, but just out of nowhere.
I mean, you just sit there and you just talking to somebody, and then boom, you just blow up in the flames.
Do you think the explosion is instant death?
I would hope so.
Of course, I would hope so.
I'm assuming it would. Well, I don't know how. See, but is it an explosion or is it just there's a fire ignite inside your body?
What is it that does it start burning or is it just instant?
Bro, you would think instinct would tell you if you're on fire that you would get up and try to roll on the ground. And
that's what I'm saying.
She didn't. She just sat there and burned in the chair.
That's what I'm saying. However it ignited, whatever it does, is just so instant that she couldn't move. Death was instant, and that was it. I would hope.
Right? You would hope so.
I would hope.
I would want to. Well, now, if I'm a spontaneous combust,
I mean, I'm not gonna
let me die. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I don't have to.
Yeah, it would suffer. Yeah, but.
Or what if it's like, oh, dog? What if it's like, cause you ever had sleep paralysis?
Yeah.
Hey, that's scary, dog.
Can you imagine burning?
Could you imagine if that's what it was?
Be able to move?
You just couldn't move, but you're just burning and you can't talk. Oh no! Hey, that'd be scary as hell.
How bad your mom would be going? I'll be trying to pass out.
Internally, you're screaming. But you can't move. Oh,
yeah. I mean, maybe it is sleep paralysis and some type of chemical. It's got to be a chemical reaction in
your body. So watch. Let me check this out. Spontaneous human combustion is a pseudoscientific concept. So you know what pseudoscience means, right?
Not really, dog.
So pseudoscience is a collection of beliefs or practices mistakenly regarded as being based on scientific method. So basically,
Scientologist.
It's a theory that's not real, you know what I'm saying? It's a pseudoscientific concept referring to the apparent spontaneous combustion of a human body, leaving only ashes and bones with minimal damage to the surrounding area. While numerous cases have been reported, the scientific community largely believes that instances are not spontaneous and are typically caused by an overlooked ignition source or other factors. So, most cases of purported spontaneous human combustion are now understood to be caused by the wick effect. This involves the body fat melting and soaking into clothing, creating a sustained fire similar to a candle. Right. But dog, that don't make sense though, man. I don't know if I accept that, man.
I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, we're talking about sleep paralysis. If you have that, or where you can't move, and your body's burning like that.
Okay.
How are you gonna be? How can you not believe that it was your fat burning?
I mean, it makes sense. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But doesn't it also make sense when they tell you that's not an alien, that's just a weather balloon?
He ain't lying.
It makes sense that it would be a weather balloon,
but is it?
But is it a weather balloon? Right. I don't know. And I'll tell you why. I get it. That makes sense. You know, maybe she fell asleep, dropped a cigarette, and she caught fire so fast. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she was wearing something that was extra flammable. You know, maybe a perfume. Maybe her perfume on her body, caught fire, and it was so abrupt that she passed out from shock. Or maybe the sleeping pills didn't let her wake up, and maybe her fat melted. Okay, I can see that.
But what could ignite something that fast? That if it starts on the bottom, I'm not saying it started on her feet. Obviously, it didn't start on one of them.
Right.
But if it works its way up, you're going to try to fan.
You're going to get up and try to
fan yourself or something.
You would think so. Dog, you're a smoker. You know what I'm saying? You've in the past.
But I'm saying,
I don't know. Yeah, all right.
I don't smoke in the house, so.
Say you're smoking a leafy green, you know, and you pass out. I don't ever nod it off, you know what I'm saying? You know.
Oh, shit.
You ever woke up like, oh. See, that's the reaction I would think you would have. Not the.
But you would have to have something ignited so. That was
so
just
fast, right?
Man, you know.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe she had perfume on. And maybe, you know, the alcohol in it or whatever caught.
But it'd have to be a real cheap made perfume to be that much alcohol. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
I'm not saying that's the case, but
I just don't. But the reason why
I'm thinking mine's from the inside, just
the fat burning.
It just.
All right, so your team wick effect.
Yeah, kind of.
I'm team spontaneous combustion. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Let me tell you why. I see what you're saying because it makes sense that maybe her fat melted into her skin,
right,
and clothes, and
I'm sure it did after, you know, but
that doesn't tell me why her foot didn't burn off. If you know,
so was it a one, and just it was so intense, it was above something we don't register. And they're just instant.
That's
like a ray gun, you know what I'm saying? Like we've seen, you know.
Oh, like in
cartoons, you know,
or like alien movies
you know,
where they're vaporized.
Vaporize people, man.
Huh? Now that opens another theory.
Is that the first?
Could that be a case of alien
intestines or alien?
Aliens after she left the leg,
not to deal with them. You know, why destroy the planet when we can just get rid of the people?
That makes sense. Hey, it could be, dog. You never know. Shit. Hey, but like I don't know. This one, I think I believe spontaneous combustion is real because this isn't the only case. There's other cases. While I was looking into this, there was like 3 or 4 or 5 more. Guy from Ireland, same thing, man. Just out of nowhere, burnt up, but nothing around him was scorched.
That's what I'm saying.
The fire was contained to him. And body parts were left over that weren't touched.
Right.
You can't tell me that doesn't make sense on how plastic face plates were melted.
From further away.
A candle melted and left the wick.
A satin
shoe and the leg.
Yeah.
If the whole body turned to ash, why did that only the leg part, stay? Yeah.
Have a half a leg and half and a foot.
I don't know, man. I don't think they're telling us everything, man.
That's what I'm saying, man. Maybe I am relating into. I'm not saying that. Well, yeah, I am. It's governmental, but you know, like they test. Who's to say the government is not testing shit just to test shit, or the aliens, and you're just the unfortunate one that they chose. So you know random lottery. I don't know.
That makes sense. You know what makes sense on? Because have you ever thought about this? What if the government is testing us through things like we don't question stuff,
right?
Like you know, like chemtrails.
Right.
You've heard of those, right? Chemtrails in the sky.
Yeah.
They say it's just from the planes. The
like the smoke. Like we said during the day, but it's at nighttime.
The clouds. But they're like, man, what if they're spraying chemicals into the air,
right.
You know,
well,
slowly killing them.
Yeah, and I've always thought about that, man. When I heard it was called Project Rain or whatever, where they can make it rain when they need to.
The HARP machine.
Yeah,
you've heard about that, right?
Where they can change.
They're making artificial clouds and stuff to make them go up in the sky and make it rain.
Yeah,
bro, that's real. You see what happened in Dubai?
No.
Oh, you didn't see what happened in Dubai, dog?
Recently or what?
Yes. Like last year or 2 years ago, man, they were using artificial means to create. They wanted it to rain.
Yeah.
And it backfired, dog. It rained for like a week straight and flooded
everything.
Flooded a bunch of stuff, caused a lot of damage.
In the rich part of Dubai? Damn.
I think. Let me pull that.
That's insane, dude. Because I mean, that's what when you mess with Mother Nature, you know, it's gonna backfire from time to time.
Watch. In April 2024, Dubai experienced record-breaking rainfall and severe flooding. The heavy rain, which was the heaviest in 75 years, resulted in widespread flooding that submerged roads, airport runways, and the flooding also caused significant disruption to travel and daily life.
Dang.
It was record rainfall, bro, and watch. Cloud seeding. While cloud seeding was initially suspected as cause of the heavy rain, the UAE's National Center for Meteorology stated that the rain was not caused by cloud seeding.
They're going to say that, of course.
Right, but come on, dog. They were cloud seeding. They were making artificial clouds,
and it just went over the top with it.
And you can't mess with Mother Nature.
That's what I said.
And it backfired on them, dog. So, I mean, I feel like the government could be doing it, dog. Look at these launches of new products.
Dude, I see a lot of things in the air lately that and they keep saying it's like Project X or whatever,
right?
Man.
Dog,
but are they? I mean, I see it all the time. People post.
Oh man, what about this, huh? What about okay, now this is a good question to ask because of the generational gap.
Right.
When you were my age, or maybe younger, say you were a teenager, how did meat look like from the supermarket? I'm curious about that. Okay, chicken breast. Now, dog, chicken breast is huge.
Oh,
you fat chicken breast like that?
Because of the steroids that they put in.
Okay, but so when you were a kid, did food look different back then to y'all?
It was fried in different product, man, and like fried chicken.
But I'm saying the size, was it smaller back then?
Oh, yeah, it was smaller. Your regular thighs and your regular breast. I mean, you got breast, but you don't have, ones that you see at KFC.
Like today, they be jumbo breasts.
Yeah.
So what are they sticking in these chickens,
just steroids,
man?
I know that's what it is, steroids, dog.
But what could that be doing to the human body?
Exactly. I mean, look what steroids does to us when we take it internally, without a doctor,
See, that's what I'm saying, dog. I mean,
it makes them big, but eventually, if they're still on it at an older age, they die, man. I mean,
it could be giving them defects, or I don't know, like that.
I wonder
we're messing with nature.
I wonder if there's a study on defects, or how did they turn out because of this? I know, which is insane because as a product comes out, they're like, man, this is what we want. This is what we want.
Right.
But if they're seeing less of what they don't want, it doesn't matter because they're getting more product.
That's true. That's true.
So
it's the greed, man. We want more and more for less money.
Yeah.
That's the corporation greed.
Well, also, yeah, you're right because these people are just charging outrageous for. I saw something the other day. Walmart used to stay open 24 hours a day.
Yep.
Double cheeseburger used to be $1.
Facts.
Corn dogs. Corn dogs was $2. Now.
Bro, I don't know wherever y'all watching the podcast from. If you're in Texas or, where Ossops is at. If you're fortunate to have an Ossops.
Texas, New Mexico.
Man, them burritos used to be $2, man.
I remember, man, 79 cents each.
Damn, I don't remember that far back.
79 cents, dude. And it's still amazing. It's just, they $3.49 or $2.49.
Damn, man. Now they're $6.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
For the little combo?
For that little, man, they don't even have the combo no more. You got to be an Ossops member. I'm sick of that.
Right. Put numbers in every time you go.
How about y'all stop it, man?
Yeah,
not everything got to be a rewards program, man. God dang.
I don't even use mine.
I don't either. I don't. I sure do use my Walmart Plus, though.
Oh, of course you do.
Shout out Walmart Plus. But yeah, man, all that to say, that, we don't know what happened to this lady, man. And there's some of us that are Team Combustion and some of us are Team Wick
Effect. I'm also thinking, what would you specialize besides fire? Well, you would have to specialize fire to try to come up with a solution, dude. What kind of expert,
Right.
Some of them have to be so smart, and to be honest, there's no answer yet.
And see, after 70 years, dog,
that's what I'm saying.
There's still no answer.
You got 70 years of intelligence coming through. And
nobody knows still to this day. And that's why I wanted to talk about that today, man, because, dog, that's fascinating to me, dog.
So I know we talked about her, but the rest were the same way.
Pretty much.
They were
pretty
all
much
just
like other cases that were disintegrated, man. Body to only a couple remains left.
Right, a few bones here and there.
But some of them do report body parts left. But all of them have the same similarities.
Right.
They all were disintegrated, to ash, but nothing around else. Them wasn't burned.
Right.
The house wasn't burned.
You got a little
it's like once the body was done. It's like once the body was done, the fire went out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I know we're going back and forth, but this combustion, can it be that immense heat?
It would have to be.
That could vaporize you.
Look at that expert.
Like I said, we were talking about lasers or whatever, vaporized machines or whatever, but something heat, something generated that hot that can vaporize you. Has that been, besides the nuclear bomb, has that been made?
I don't know, man. Or could it have been? Hey, what if she pissed God off, man?
And I didn't want to bring that up, nephew. I didn't want to bring that up, dog, because it was in my brain.
Pillar of fire.
I'm like, look, that or is that purgatory? Did she go to purgatory?
Or maybe we're looking at it the wrong way. Maybe God took her for some reason. Maybe some people, I don't know. Maybe she
and because we know the men's heat. What when Jesus rose. Was that the same heat?
Oh, you're talking about the Shroud of Turin?
Right. They're saying that the amount of heat, the light that made that on the shroud had to be so immense
that it left the impression.
Right. So, do you think something like that happened to this lady or other people? To me, I would think would be immense, so that it's vaporization right off the bat. I mean, that's
right.
Other than falling asleep and not waking up, that'd be another easy way to die.
Yeah, exactly.
Being vaporized instantly, you're not going to know. You're not going to feel.
Yeah.
Then
that would be pretty good. Maybe spontaneous combustion ain't too bad to go out on. You know what I'm saying?
But boom, how scary could it be if it's not?
Damn, I know that would be scary.
That's why I say that it was immense heat because of everything that got charred.
Just got charred and melted.
Because the heat came and it was over. And it didn't spread wide, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Because it was contained in one area.
Right there, ooh, straight up, doom, you're done.
Dog, that's a good question, man. That's dope, man. That's why I wanted to talk about that, man, because could you imagine, dog? It's unexplained.
Right.
So I guess this is a true crime mixed in with a little bit of unexplained mystery,
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, man, dog, this is
so many theories that we can keep going on and on and on.
Oh, yeah.
As we sit here and just keep thinking about it, we're like...
You brought up the Shroud of Turin. Hey, let's talk about that a little bit, man. Because
about the Pope?
People... No, not the Pope. I know what you're talking about. That it looks like... I know you're talking about.
No,
right?
That right now that they're in... we may know as early as Friday.
Oh, they're in conclave or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The meeting, they get together and pick the new Pope.
Yeah.
You see Donald Trump spoke about the AI Pope that they made of him, that the White House had posted. You didn't see that?
I didn't see that.
They posted an AI picture of Donald Trump as the Pope. Wow, and a lot of people were mad about that.
Yeah, dude.
But Donald Trump said he had nothing to do with
it. Right. But people are so disrespectful to religion, religion, it doesn't matter where you're at, religion should be, respected, because it's a religion.
Which is funny to me because people always talk about religious people or even spiritual people.
Right.
Being the ones forcing their religion upon everybody, but they're the ones who make it a point to disrespect religion or whatever.
Like these people, doing the Pope like that. I mean, come on,
that's crazy, man.
I mean, that's the highest person in office in Catholicism.
And people don't realize that the Pope has a lot of authority.
A lot,
and stuff. It's a big deal.
He's the Papa. He's the king.
Just because like I said, we don't follow Catholicism no more.
Right. But that's what I'm saying about the Pope.
I'm not going to talk bad about the Pope. You feel me? Anyways, the Shroud of... No, I didn't see that about the Pope, but what I was saying is for people out there who don't know what we're talking about, the Shroud of Turin is actually a piece of cloth that they believe Jesus was wrapped in the tomb after he got crucified.
Right.
And they believe that it bears the image of Christ's face and body and everything. And up until a couple years back, it was believed to be not real.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But man, they did some DNA testing a couple years back, and it confirmed that the material that cloth is made of matches the exact time of the era of when he was crucified.
Right.
And if you look up the image, watch, I'll put an image up probably right here. And it looks like his face with the crown of thorns, everything on it.
It does.
And they're like what you were referring to is they believe that whatever happened to him, they're assuming his resurrection was so bright and immense that it burned the image onto the cloth.
Yeah.
So which would make sense, you know what I mean?
Right.
So and that's the Shroud of Turin, but I believe it's true, man. I think it's real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I do too on that, but on this female, did he take her? there's only been a few people in this lifetime, from the 1800s to this to happen to.
Right.
They got to be something special, something
special about them, or a special way of taking them.
To be taken like that is glorious, I would think, but not to get spiritual or anything, but
right.
To be taken like that, I'm not saying she did, of course.
Right. Just theoretically.
If something is so hot that I meant something, hey, I want you here instant. I don't want you to suffer. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
It could be. There's so many theories on this. That's why I wanted to talk to you about it, because there's so many different theories on this, man, and I think it's really interesting. Man, y'all tell me what y'all think, man. Y'all think that she...
I didn't. Like I said, I didn't know what you were gonna do today, and that when you told me, I'm like, what? Like I said, I heard about spontaneous combustion, but never really
looked into it or seen anything
never had
about
to.
it.
I mean,
you just had no reason to.
I don't think I'm gonna combust, but who knows?
I'm not gonna combust, but I might bust.
You're right.
What did he say?
Hell yeah, I hear that.
Hey, we go through spontaneous combustion every time you have sex.
Always.
No, anyways, man. I gotta to shift a little bit from this song. I got a question for you.
All right.
I got a question for you. So I know you be on TikTok a lot.
Yeah.
There's a debate going around that's going viral. One gorilla versus 100 men.
Gorilla, man.
Who you got?
The gorilla, dog.
You think a gorilla?
Man, that's a lot of men. I ain't gonna lie.
State your case.
That's a lot of men, dog. Like a silverback, how strong they are.
Right.
And kill you with one blow.
Right.
If he can keep the men away with one blow, I mean, I thought he knows how to fight, but he's gonna protect himself.
He's gonna protect himself, dog. And you've seen him fight in the zoo. So dog, they're wild.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it got to be such of a bum rush, I guess, from all sides, and best man to himself, And
so what are you thinking?
Now that I put it that ways, I don't know, man. I mean,
see, I was on the fence about this.
Yeah, because I think the 100 men, dog. Because if, like I said, you can surround them and bum rush them. You got to get some kind of leverage,
Right. Okay, but think about it like this: a gorilla can lift up to like 2,000 pounds.
That's what I'm saying too, man.
And it's got a bite force that's as strong as a lion.
Break your arm.
People don't realize that.
Yeah.
Like you said, one blow could kill you, dog. I don't know, man. So look, when I first heard this debate, in my mind, I was like, man, y'all are dumb. Ain't no damn way y'all think a gorilla's gonna get whooped by 100 humans.
I'm out for you too, man. But
this is what I was thinking. I'm like, because everybody's like, well, it's 100 humans. Okay, how are y'all gonna rush them at one time?
Right.
Okay, here two things, huh? How are you gonna rush them at one time? Y'all gonna trample over each other for one. So some of y'all are gonna die just off the trample. You feel me? But then,
so you're
I might be Team Gorilla, dog, and let me tell you why.
And I feel like that too sometimes, man, because they're strong as hell, dog.
Because, dog, first of all, who's rushing them first?
Are you in the front of the line or the back of the line?
Who's the... I just thought of something too. Imagine you're like say you're number like 21, and you watch and you see number 19 get dismantled. Just
fuck this.
And number 20?
And number 20 runs up. I'm gonna be like, hey, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I'm out this game.
And if I'm number 40, I'm going home, man. Yeah. You know what? You see what he did to them?
I mean, you're right. Who's going to bum rush him, dog?
Like, who's going to be the first one? Because you know it's going to be suicide. Whoever rushes him first, you just got to be okay with dying, you know?
Yeah. True, dog. True.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, the first person just has to be the one to die. Like,
who's going to take that rap? Are you?
At least 1 through 10. Y'all gonna die. So we need at least 10 people who don't care about living. Right?
Hey, Lord, my life's over. Thank you. I'm coming.
Thank you, Jesus. I'm on the way. Because that gorilla turn around and just, matter of fact, he might take 3 to 4 out in one swipe.
Yeah.
And so, Next
wave,
Donkey
Kong, dog.
Next wave. Oh yeah, if he gets some barrels on his hands, we're done for, dog. I see.
You're right, dog. It goes either way.
But I don't know. But I mean, 100 men. I don't think people realize how much 100 people.
Not going to happen. I mean,
you're not finna one-on-one with
for real. But bum rushing.
I seen an animal expert talk about it on, and I think they said they were Team Human because they said that a gorilla can only sustain itself for so long.
Right.
It may get through 20 people, but eventually it's going to wear down.
Yeah, so tired.
And they can overpower him.
Yeah. Well, that's anything, dog. I mean, if you really think about it, you can be, remember the old when the UFC first started?
Oh, yeah.
If you kept winning, you kept fighting the same night. There wasn't no weight category, dog.
Yeah. You would just go fight whoever.
Horace Gracie had to fight 6-7 times a night in order to get that.
Hey, you're not lying, dog. They used to fight out of weight class and stuff. Big fat dudes would fight small, scrawny guys.
So, I mean, it's going to happen too.
But you seen, they realized that didn't work.
Not for some of them, yeah. I mean, Horace for sure. But I don't know, dude. but yeah, I would think, he would wear himself out after so many.
That's what I'm thinking of.
If those 100 are brave.
I mean, you got to be brave as hell. That was the one thing.
I mean,
who are you gonna get? Like, if say they sent you,
I don't even have 10 friends, much less 100, dog. Who am I gonna have 100 people? I don't even know 100 people, dog.
Say you get a text message. You have been selected to fight a gorilla. Meet at this time. Are you going?
No, I don't think so, dog.
I don't think I'm going.
Yeah,
I don't care how much money you offer me.
Well. Got to take one for the team sometime for the family, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe if they're like, if you at least come, we'll deposit the money to your family if you die. But that's a decision you're going to have to make.
Yeah.
Say they're like, we're going to give you $1 million to your family or to you if you survive. Come fight this gorilla out of 100. I think it depends on what number.
$1 million is not a lot of money, dog. I love my family, dog. But I think I'd pass on the $1 million.
You're like,
for yeah, $1 million ain't gonna, we're looking at $100 million, maybe.
Maybe $100 million.
I'll be like, hey, that'll take care of the whole family.
$1 billion.
$1 billion, yeah, that'll take care of my family. Hey, let's go. Size, well, you lose. You're not gonna throw a punch. You're just gonna look at him and pass out. I thought he's gonna eat you.
I'm going fist to fist with him. I'm gonna be like Rocky on Rocky 4,
right?
While just wearing that body down. Nah, I don't think so, dog. Now I'm gonna be like Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
He gonna be like, throw the damn towel.
Rocky like.
He just didn't. I watched that again the other day. Pissed me off, man. This whole movie could have been avoided if you would have just threw that towel in, dog. Why did you throw it?
No, but now that we watching Creed's good, dog. 1, 2, and 3.
My dog, I guess he wants to get some shine in.
Okay.
Say what's up, Bear. All right, now get out of here, brother.
I was wondering, he was all running around a while ago. Dude,
but yeah,
crazy.
man, I thought that'd be a good debate.
It was a good debate. I said, but you and I are so similar, so different too, though.
Yeah, we don't always disagree on a lot of stuff.
But then we kind of change each other's minds sometimes because
sometimes
that makes sense. But then you're like, but I'm thinking this way first, Yeah.
That's
sometimes we make sense real good, and I'm like, did I really just think of that?
Did I think of that myself?
Cause that's why I be at home watching TV, and I'm like, man, my mind is crazy. You know how yours gets too, dog.
Oh yeah.
And then you be like, how did I come up with that answer? Whatever you're studying or whatever.
Yeah, me too. I do that a lot, man. I trip out on some of the stuff that I research, and I'm like, what the hell?
And you learn, it's good. That's how you learn, man. You learn a lot of things that we forget throughout the years. Not really forget, but don't teach ourselves.
Yeah, the problem is that a lot of us have a lot of time on our hands, but we choose to do stuff that don't benefit us.
Exactly.
And I'm guilty of it too, bro. There's days that I can be doing something productive and I'm just playing a game or whatever. Right. You know what I mean? But sometimes it's good to have.
Well, you gotta have some time off for yourself,
just to relax, man, and unwind. But you know what I mean?
But yeah, I mean, Staying on the grind.
Yeah, staying on the grind. That's a big thing. And speaking of that, man, shoot, I got some new music coming out, man.
Dude, hey.
I got some new music coming out.
He just rapped me something a while ago, threw some bars at me. Dude, it's one of the best I've heard in a long time from you, man.
Dog.
It's like you put in work for it and you said you didn't.
Yeah, it just came to me.
It's badass, people. Hopefully you can get it, posted out there quickly on
man.
TikTok.
It'll get recorded this week. Sometime this week, and then I'm gonna drop it sometime this. Probably not. If I don't drop it this week, for sure I'm gonna drop it next week. So I got some more music coming out.
It's good.
But man, we're at a good stopping point, man. Is there anything that you want to say before we bounce out of here, man?
Nothing, man. Just the same old, man. Thank you, thanking the people, man.
Facts.
Appreciate all the comments, all the likes, all the views, thumbs up on YouTube, and keep checking out our TikToks, man. They're really moving along.
Yeah. Check us out on TikTok.
We'll be putting up here hopefully next month. May get some more in. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll
yet.
get another round of clips in. Yeah, man. Y'all check us out. Late Night Conversations at Late Night Conversations with Unc and Nephew on TikTok, YouTube, man, Facebook, Spotify too, man. Spotify. I forget to keep
I
up
listen to a lot of
that.
Spotify when I'm at work. But at home, I watch the YouTube. I've been watching the YouTube on the big screen lately.
Yeah.
I love
it, man. Yeah, if y'all not watching it, man, y'all are missing out on some funny clips and some different. Thank y'all for joining us for another exciting episode of Late Night Conversations with Unc and Nephew. And until next week,
peace.